friend. Have you read all the books, blogs, podcasts, Instagram posts, etc.? You think you know how to be a good mom, but you feel like you're hopelessly flawed and can't do all those things? Do you feel like you're drowning in motherhood and at best you can tread water sometimes, but you're just not getting anywhere? You're still stuck in all the same ruts. Your kids are out of control, your house is a mess, and you can't find any motivation to change any of it? You just feel terrible all the time, stressed out, burned out, and over it? Well, I have great news for you. You have come to the right place. I've got you. I'm Emily Wardrop from Drop the Word Life Coaching. I'm an advanced certified life coach, and I want to let you in on one little simple secret that can change everything for you. You want to know how to be a good mom? I'm going to tell you the secret. Are you still listening? The secret is you already are. Join me on this journey to believe you are a good mom. Here we go. Okay, welcome back to the podcast. I have a special guest today named Jenn Mullins. And Jenn, I will let you introduce yourself. In fact, let me just do that because sometimes I get chatty and then let me just let you do it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Jenn Mullins here. I have my own accounting firm. Started working with my dad about 13 years ago and started my own firm about 5 years ago. I have been working on scaling that more this past year. I have one adult child currently going to college. I have a teenager getting ready to graduate. And then I have a daughter who's 7, and I think that's a golden age.
Yeah. 7 is fun. I have a 7-year-old too, and then my son is 8. So my 7-year-old daughter, that's a good thought to think it's a golden age, because that's not usually what I'm thinking about her.
Yeah. It's just I think after having a teenager and a young adult, it's like, okay, those kids, they're way easier.
Yeah. And so my podcast, like my niche, I guess, my clientele is moms of younger kids. And I keep having guests that have older kids, but I really like that perspective because just like you just said, like after having the older kids, and it's like, it's just the perspective of like, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and then looking back, like, I just love to get the wisdom from people who've already been where I'm at. And then anyway. So, okay. So you just said you have your own accounting firm. You're CPA, right?
Actually, no? I don't have the CPA credential, but I do have tax practitioner credential with the IRS.
Oh, nice.
So it's basically the same thing as what a CPA do. I just don't have the certification that a CPA does have, but I still do public accounting, basically the same thing that CPA does.
Yeah.
Kind of like difference between a doctor and a PA, physician assistant, kind of like that. So yeah.
Cool. And you've been doing it forever, because did you mention that? I forget.
Yeah, about 13 years ago I started in the industry
with your dad's firm. And
yeah.
And so I know Jenn from we both work with Jody Moore in her business program. And so it's fun because I'm a coach, and Jody loves helping coaches, but she loves helping any entrepreneur. And so it's fun to meet other people that are doing a little bit different things, but we're all trying to get business rolling, right? And and then we also actually have been in Jody's just coaching program, right? So Jody Moore is my coach. Like, she's been my coach since 2017. And since 2017, she started a group coaching program. And so basically what that means is she'll coach, because I coach people one-on-one. Like I say, jump on a free Zoom call with me, like it'll just be you and me. But when you get coached in a big, especially her membership is really big, so it's just you and her on Zoom, but there's like a bajillion, you don't even know how many people watching. And so it can be really scary to like actually get coached in one of these big programs, but we get so much out of it just by watching other people be coached. And so I'd love for you to share kind of your experience doing that.
So So I was introduced to Jody more by a therapist that I was seeing, which was interesting that therapists out there are even referring her.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's amazing how, like, I didn't think it would make as much of an impact in my life as it has. Sometimes, when you're doing mental type work, I've had therapists in past and things like that. But when you're doing like the mental work or the cognitive work, you don't really notice, a change unless you really look at it. So like for instance, before I joined with her, I had so much turmoil going on in my family's life. I had just like a son who was leaving our faith, and when he was fine going to mission, and just some other things were going on, and just felt like I was gonna have mental breakdowns and things like that. So I got with that program and that whole model, and just seeing how like universal my problems were really helped me understand that I'm not alone. So I think that piece of it really helped a lot, knowing that there are other people out there that almost have exactly the same problems that I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And then just like watching her work with each of those people who had the same problems I do, just working through that model that she has, to help them kind of like regain control of like, your thoughts, and you really can't control anything outside of you. They even teach that, they tend to teach that too in like addiction recovery, which my husband has been through. And I feel like, that serenity prayer, they talk about that, but it's like you don't really get that unless you're applying, I feel like the model goes in line with that, and that can actually help anyone, not even just addicts, but like anyone in life, like that whole control, like controlling your life by controlling like your thoughts and things like that.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah.
Yeah, especially with parenting, and especially with parenting young kids, like we're always talking about up in here.
Yeah.
So the control is huge, because you kind of think that you have control when your kids are little because they're little, and
Mhm.
and they can't do for themselves a lot of things. And so you get this illusion of control is what I call it. And so
Yeah.
like you think that you can control them because you literally like physically can pick them up and move them.
Yeah.
But it's like once they get too big to like force to do anything, you really have to
Mhm.
face this idea of like that they have their own agency and that you really can't control another human being. And another
Yeah.
thing that's funny is like with the kids all day long, you're like bossing around kids all day. And then the husband gets home and you just boss him around too. And it's like, wait a second,
Yeah.
he's an adult. Like, I'm not his boss. I'm really kind of not even my kid's boss as far as like they're humans
Yeah.
also, and they have their own agency. And it's like I just feel like the sooner we can wrap our heads around that, the better, because when they're little and we think we can control them because they want to please us, like that's just ingrained in them. And so
Mhm.
they see that we're not happy when they're being naughty. And so they try to be good to please us, but then that causes problems in itself. And
Yeah.
so if we can understand that we can feel however we want to feel by controlling, the only thing we actually can control is our own thoughts, is just
Yeah.
what you're talking about, right? And
Mhm.
so we can't make them do anything. Of course, we make requests, and same with adults, we can make
Mhm.
requests of our husbands or whatever, but we can't like expect that they're going to comply and then feel terrible if they don't. Like yeah, the idea of control is like a really big one to try to
Yeah.
wrap around our brains, because
Mhm.
we value our own agency so much, and then therefore we become control enthusiasts, like that we want to control everyone else because we want it our way, but they also have their, anyway, that's a power struggle we talk about all the time. Drop the war life coaching, we're dropping power struggles because we're just understanding that other people have agency too, and we can't control
Yeah.
them. And when we
Yeah.
try, we're on that tug of
Mhm.
war rope. So
Yeah.
Anyway, the other thing you said, or sorry if there's something, did I just interrupt?
Oh, no, you're good.
Okay. So I like how you talk about how you can't see what it does for you, like we're doing this cognitive work, right? It's in our own heads and in our own bodies with our feelings, and so we're working with our life coach and we're getting this all figured out, and it may or may not even be obvious to anyone outside of us, because it's like maybe you wanted a coach because you feel bad that like you yell at your kids or something like that, right? Like, I just want to stop yelling at my kids. And so I'm going to help you with the thought feeling that leads to that action of yelling at your kids. And so we're going to do a lot of that internal stuff that you were talking about, like your thought work and your feelings. But in the end, like, your kids may or may not notice. They may or may not think you're a good mom. Your husband may or may not think, but it's our own self, our own relationship with ourselves, really, that we're working on, and that may or may not be able to see. So tell me a little bit more about that, like when you were kind of seeing that shift in yourself, but maybe wasn't as obvious from the outside.
So like so I kind of have like some other things, like, so my husband's a recovering addict. He went to rehab last year. Let's see. So the thing with that is, it's like I can't control if he's gonna use or not. So why don't I just control what I do if he were to use again? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if I try to control, that's just something you can't control. You can't control if someone's going to do something like that or not, So yeah, I felt like I kind of let go of that and just like let him do his own thing. I mean, he's an adult, of course. So just let him be an adult, let him make those choices, even though you can see they're clearly destroying that person. What can you do yourself in order to be at peace with what's going on with that person? I mean, you'll still be sad, it's still heartbreaking, heart-wrenching and things like that, but it kind of gives you peace within that, just peace within that turmoil, knowing that, you know what, I can't control what they're doing, and that actually makes me feel better that I can't control him and if he's going to do that or not. All I can control is how I'm going to act myself in situations that, if he were to relapse, or, my oldest son, like watching him make life choices I don't agree with. But yeah, just finding the peace within myself, even though watching, just some things that are hard, has been really helpful.
Yeah.
And before I would be just like, really just like on edge, just like, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. Like almost every day I felt like I was going to have a nervous breakdown, but doing that thought work has really helped me kind of find some peace and really understand what that control piece is in those situations.
Yeah. And because it's more empowering, right? It's like,
For
you
sure.
feel so helpless when your husband's doing things that you don't agree with, your son is doing things, and you can see how destructive it is, and you just want to fix them. You just want to change it. You just want to help them, even like it comes from a good place, but you just really can't, because they can make their own decisions. And really it is empowering for us to know that we can too. Like they cannot take away our agency, even though they're doing something that we don't like. We still have agency to do what we want to do when they do that. Yeah. And that's really, really, really important, because otherwise we just feel helpless in our life.
Yeah.
Because you are kind of helpless to help them, like you want to, we're like, we don't have the power to make them do something, but we do have, our own empowerment to how do we want to respond. Yeah. And that doesn't make it easy. It's still really, really hard.
No, I mean, you still have the feelings. You can't, I don't think you can control your feelings like over it, but you can at least control like how you're thinking about it and what you're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. To at least keep you from having a mental breakdown on the daily, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What? So awesome. I just love to hear stories about how coaching can help people, because that's where I get all lit up. I'm so excited, is hoping, or coaching helped me so much, and I just want to help other people with that. And so thanks for coming and sharing your story and being vulnerable with us. And I would love to let everybody know how they can, especially entrepreneurs. Is that who you like helping, or just anybody who needs tax preparation? Everybody needs it every year, right?
Yeah. So I mostly focus on small businesses and their owners. Nice. Because that's what I've mostly worked with. And just helping them do the tax planning and strategies ahead of time to make sure they can budget for those taxes, and give them ideas on how to minimize their taxes. That's my passion there. There's bookkeeping. I hired the bookkeeping to other people so that I can do that for the client. Nice. So I have bookkeepers that work for me that do the bookkeeping. Mm-hmm. And once we get that straightened out, then I'm able to provide that higher level service for small businesses and or basically small business owners. Yeah, is mostly what I like to work with. That's so awesome. That's so needed, right? Because for you beautiful people who can think in numbers and all the things, like the rest of us really need help in that area. So that's awesome. Okay, so tell people where they can find you. Okay, so I have a website. It's www.jcmaccounting.com. I'm also really active on Instagram. It's JCM_accounting. You can see my fun reels on there, and always trying to find out some creative ways on how to make this boring subject easier, more palatable for everyone. Awesome. That's so fun. Yeah, that is a skill. So it's great. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on. And if you are a small business owner, hook it up. Okay. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks. Thanks. Hey friend, thanks for listening. If you want to learn more about how you can believe that you are a good mom, head over to dropthewordlifecoach.com/believe, and you get access to my free pre-recorded masterclass that will teach you all about the hands-on, exactly how to believe that you are a good mom. Start believing right now. Feel the peace, my friend. We got this. You got this. See you there.